One option that parents have for their children with hearing loss is a spoken language only approach. And for a spoken language only approach, you can either use a unisensory or multisensory. And we can get into those a little bit later. But a spoken language only approach encourages the child to use the same language as their normal hearing peers. The different approaches include an auditory verbal approach, which is unisensory, and an auditory oral approach, which is multisensory. Auditory verbal approach encourages the development of spoken language using only your aided residual hearing. So this does require either a cochlear implant or a hearing aid. Children who use this approach are not permitted to view lips or facial expressions of the speaker to rely only on their auditory development. This really relies on the parents' integration of this approach at home, so encouraging just using their auditory skills to listen at home as well. And the goal of this approach is a complete integration into mainstream settings without exposure to deaf culture. An auditory oral approach encourages the development of spoken language using residual hearing in addition to speech reading, facial expressions, and the use of natural gestures. A cochlear implant or a hearing aid is not required but is strongly encouraged for the use of this approach. Children receive auditory training in addition to training on lip reading. And the goal of this approach is integration into mainstream society as well. But the difference is that children using the auditory oral approach are allowed to integrate speech reading and natural facial expressions and gestures into their communication.